You are welcome to this edition. And like I mentioned in the chat box, my name is Deborah Ajiburi-Ogbon, and I'll be moderating this section. It's great to have us on board. And on behalf of the president of Images Initiative, Dr. Olawale Olaide, we welcome you all to this edition, to this October edition. And something beautiful with the edition is that it's all about family and marriage. And for a successful society, for a society to thrive effectively, I believe one institution that needs a major concern, that needs to be well rooted, that needs a major breakthrough, so to say, is what is the family institution. And we are excited. We are happy to have a renowned speaker who will be giving us and be sharing from our work-life balance. Our webinar is on marriage, relationship, and work-life balance. We have seen different scenarios whereby when people are getting married, for instance, when I was getting married in May, a lot of people had a lot of concerns. How are you going to put up with your career? Will marriage not be limiting you? A whole lot of things, a whole lot of concerns, especially for the female gender, sort of. But as God will have it, we have been able to find a nexus, that is myself and my husband, for a work-life balance. And I think that's also a major challenge that we face even in marriages today, whereby the marriage relationship and the work-life balance there's no nexus. So this afternoon we'll be having Dr. Adejoke Olukemi Akinyele come share with us on the nexus between a marriage relationship and a work-life balance. Please, if you can hear me, kindly type in the comment section so that I will know that I am not alone. Okay, thank you. I can see your comment that you can hear me. So before we proceed, I would like to introduce our guest speaker. And when I got her profile, I was screaming, wow. So Dr. Adejoke Olukemi Akinyele is a reader in the Department of Forest Production and Products, University of Ibadan, Nigeria. Our area of specialization is silviculture and tree improvement. At the University of Ibadan, Adejoke has served in various capacities, such as Subdean undergraduate forestry and the current Subdean postgraduate Faculty of Renewable Natural Resources. She has been a member of the International Union of Forest Research Organization, IUFRO, since 2010. She is the Deputy Coordinator for IUFRO Division 2, Hardwood Improvement, Culture, and Genetic Resources. She is currently the alternate representative for Nigeria in IUFRO International Council. She has partnered with Partnership for African Social and Governance Research and Pedagogical Leadership in Africa to enhance higher education in online technology for transformative pedagogy since 2019. Adejoke was a visiting scientist in the School of Forestry and Conservation, University of Florida, USA. She is also a member of the United States International Exchange Alumni. She is an alumnus of BioVision through the World Life Sciences Forum, Scientific Foundations of Lyon and Fresh Academy of Sciences, and a recipient of the Netherlands Fellowship Program, Wageningen International in the Netherlands. She is a fellow of the Center for International Postgraduate Studies of Environmental Management, CIPSEM, under the UNEP/UNESCO BMU Fellowship in Germany, and a Commonwealth Fellow under the Commonwealth Academic Fellowship in the School of Environment, Natural Resources and Geography, Bangor University Waves. Dr. Akinyele is a full member of the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, OWSD, Commonwealth Forestry Association, International Union of Forestry Research Association, Forestry Association of Nigeria, Nigerian Young Academy and Africa Forest Forum. She has supervised over 60 students at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Adejoke has published widely in several outlets such as books, chapters in books, articles in conference proceedings, and peer-reviewed journals. With a round of applause, with our e-claps, let me see the claps. Kindly let us welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Akinyele. Let me see those claps. Let me see it in the comment section as we welcome her. You can agree with me that this profile is not a day's job. Women striving in their career and also having a beautiful work-life balance. So let me see the clap. Let me see the clap in the comment section. And I have the pleasure to bring to you Dr. Akinyele. Yes, ma.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I want to sincerely appreciate the opportunity, the privilege that's been given to me to talk to you about marriage and work-life balance. And for me, I find it very, very interesting because it's something we all need, especially if you plan to get married or if you're married. You don't have a choice. You just must be able to get that balance and fly. So please permit me to share my screen. And if I feel that my network may not allow the video to go up very well, I might put off my video, but let's see how it goes. So I'll be sharing my screen now so that we just look at what I have to share with you about this very interesting journey of life. So please, can you see my screen? Please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. We can see your screen.
Thank you very much. So we want to look at marriage relationship and work-life balance. And I've been given about 30 minutes and I'm like, marriage and talking about marriage, 30 minutes and work-life balance. So let's just see what we can bring out from those 30 minutes. So I want us to look at relationship. You know, we have different forms of relationship in life. You relate with friends, with colleagues, with family. You have different interaction with different people at different levels. And so when we're looking at relationship, we're looking at the way in which two or more people or things are connected. There is a connection between the two or among the people that we're talking about. So there is a relationship. And once you have that relationship, then something is expected within that relationship. You have a responsibility. You have you're responsible to those people at the very level of the relationship that you have with them. Now we want to talk about marriage. Marriage is a legally accepted relationship between two people, and they live together. They're expected to live together, but we know that in our generation, because of different kinds of maybe economic downturn, you find married people living apart, but then they are expected to live together. So if you're married to someone and you're expected to live together, once you are living together, definitely you know that there will be issues to clear between you. There will be things to put in place. There will be somebody, the other partner, depending on another one way or the other, like that. So we have marriage. So when we now have work-life balance, what does it involve? It means that you must learn how to minimize work-related stress. At the same time, you must be able to establish a stable and sustainable way to carry out your work. And whatever you do, it must not be at the detriment of your health or general well-being. So it means that you must be able to balance the career. At the same time, your health is there. At the same time, you're looking at money, finances, business. There must be a place for your friends. There must be a place for family. And then you might want to, okay, we need to take a vacation. So there must be a place for all those things when we want to look at work-life balance. So this work-life balance, why is it important for us to be able to attain that balance? What are the benefits of being able to have a work-life balance? We're saying that if we're able to have that balance, then there will be fewer health issues. Fatigue is something that negatively affects our focus and our productivity. And a person that is suffering from fatigue could begin to make mistakes, could be forgetting commitments. And if you're doing all that, before you know it, your professional reputation will begin to suffer. And then you're losing grasp of maybe what you have built over a period of time. At the same time, when there is poor health, if we're not able to attain that balance, it results to poor health. The health from the stress and the poor health from neglecting healthy habits that we should have been doing, and they can lead to different medical conditions, high blood pressure, all those things, diabetes, and before you know it, it could cause drug abuse, addiction to a particular drug. Maybe someone is always using a particular medication, maybe for headache, you're always using something, and then before you know it, you find out that you can't live a day without using the medication. So once we are able to balance in one way or the other our work life and our marriage, then we have fewer issues of health to battle with. At the same time, the benefits include having positive impact on your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your co-workers, your relationship with family members, your relationship with friends, your relationship all around. It has a positive impact on all these relationships. And I'm very careful that though we're talking about marriage, I'm careful to mention that I'm going to be talking about the work-life balance for spouses, not just for the men and not just for the women. We both need each other. The husband needs the wife and the wife needs the husband to be able to attain this work-life balance. Because once there are issues in the home, there is no way you will be able to attain the balance that is needed in your workplace. There is no way you'll be able to bring things together. There is no way you'll be able to maintain your focus. There is no way you'll be able to improve your productivity or even be productive at all. So the issue of marriage and family is very, very germane when we're talking about work-life balance. Another thing is that once we are able to maintain this work-life balance, we have higher productivity. And several research has shown that when we spend too much time working, there is a direct correlation with loss of productivity and effectiveness. So it is important that we be able to learn it. The issue of burnout too. Burnout is a form of mental exhaustion. The person is just fagged out, totally down. And it's a sign that the person's health at work is not ideal. So, and what can contribute to burnout? When we have too much work to do, when the job that is demanded exceeds the person's limits, or there is too little control over the work, or there is the policies are too rigid, or the job condition is just chaotic. And then sometimes what brings out burnout is when there are value conflicts, when the job says that you have to do something in one way, and you as an individual, you feel that this is not the way, this is not what I want to be involved with, then it brings conflict, and then before you know it, it leads to burnout. Now, another thing is when we are able to have this work-life balance, we have more mindfulness. We have the ability to maintain our focus and our awareness of what he's doing. Look at my picture, the picture I showed you. The man, there are several things going at the background, but the man is focused on his work because he's been able to reach a balance. So despite what in quote could have been distractions, he could at that point in time focus on what he has to do and do it. So there's no distraction by other obligations or other concerns that could have been major issues that would have affected his productivity. So how can you manage your time and energy in a way that it will not leave you, you'll be able to feel fulfilled and engaged as a whole human being? We have to remember that we're social beings. So how do we manage all those things so that we can be fulfilled at the end of the day? Or what can allow you to show up as your best self and avoid mental exhaustion? What do we do when you show up at your place of work? You are showing the best part of you because you've been able to reach a balance in everything. We have to look at the issue of self-management. What about your nutrition? Do you have time to do whatever little exercise that your body needs? Do you take adequate rest? It's very important. Sometimes you wake up, if you don't sleep well, you wake up feeling cranky. And before you know it, the people that come across your way, they bear the brunt of it. Time management. You have so much to do. And how do you manage the time? All of us have 24 hours in the day. And the 24 hours must be able to accommodate everything you plan to do. You will not have extra anything apart from the 24 hours. So for all of us, whatever we plan to do, we must be able to accommodate it within the time that we have. How about stress management? You have so much on you, and there is a lot of stress. And if I am stressed up, how do I react? Do I begin to shout on my subordinates? Do I begin to take it out on my husband or my wife? Do I begin to take it out on my children? Or do I just give up and say, I'm not doing anything again? How do we manage our stress? Then, how do we manage change? How do we manage change when things are not, things are just changing, they're not going the way we expect? Things are, maybe we have to change job, or maybe our husband has to change job, or there's something is changing. How do you manage it when you have a change? It is important. Then how do we manage technology? Do I spend my 24 hours of the day on my WhatsApp, on my Facebook, on my Instagram, or any new thing? I must be current, I must get this information. Whatever new technology is around, how do I manage this technology? And then my leisure time, how do I manage it? It's important. When you have leisure time, or when you're supposed to have leisure time, you still use that leisure time to be able to do some work, or you forget that this is supposed to be my leisure time. Let me take my leisure time and enjoy it for myself. These are some of the things that we need to look at. How we manage them. And for most of us that are in academia, or maybe you are still carrying out your research, we're involved in several things that most of the time we don't even think that they are work. Now, let's see. We have our work within the university. We teach. I've had my classes this morning. We do research. We have administrative responsibility. I'm the sub-dean. There's a deadline for submission of documents, or some documents that I have to prepare. You develop teaching materials. In fact, not even with the onset, when we started COVID and then we started blended learning, and then you have to begin to develop your online materials, online teaching and all that. These are additional responsibilities that are coming in. You review thesis, you work with your project students, you're writing publications, you're presenting webinars, or you're attending webinars, just like most of us are now. So students will call you reference letters. I want to apply for this job. I want to apply to this institution. You have reference letters to write for them. You're organizing a workshop. So there are so many things that we're involved with that takes our time. And sometimes we don't even know that we have all these jobs to do. So that means I'm a teacher, I'm a mentor, I'm a supervisor, I'm a global citizen, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt to some people, I'm a niece to some people. So, and all those things have their responsibilities and what they take from you. So how do you do all those things to make sure that none of it is lagging behind? Sometimes as academia, we will think that if I don't do this work now, when will I do it? Even though I'm tired, I'm packed out, but if I don't do it, I won't have time to do it. Or my supervisor has so much trust in me. He expects me to submit this aspect of my work by so time, and I have this and this and this ongoing. How can I disappoint him? You have that at the back of your mind. Or you are thinking, I better do it. If I don't do it, other colleagues will do it, and they will think I'm not serious. We need to watch it. Or hey, if I say I'm busy now, they will be thinking that I'm thinking I'm more important than others. So I should not tell them I have so much on my plate right now. Or as a student, a doctoral student, you're like, let me send that email in the middle of the night. That manuscript that my supervisor is saying I should send, let me send it in the middle of the night. If I send it in the middle of the night, it will know that I am working. Ooh. Mass and SARS, it is not true. Not though we may be having this thought, all these things are what leads to burnout for us. If we think that if I don't do it, somebody else will do it, or I don't want to disappoint. Not that you must always disappoint, but there must be times that situations and circumstances that you'll be facing may lead you to disappoint. Or if I don't do it now, heavens will not fall. If you don't do something right now, heavens will not fall. Those things will still be waiting for you to do. So the marriage relationship and work-life balance, how do I meet this balance? I'm married, and for anyone that is married, or even if you're not married, you know that marriage means responsibility. Marriage means that things are changing. It's not the same. Someone that's not married cannot compare himself or herself with somebody that is married. And my reasons, among others, is this: marriage will bring diversity. That is, you are coming into marriage with someone that might not have 100% value in everything as you do. So that diversity is there, and you must be able to manage it. How about changes? Maybe you used to live very close to your research lab as a single lady, but now you are married, you've not finished your work, and then your home is like several kilometers away from your lab. In the past, you can decide to spend the night in the lab and work overnight. Oh, this work, I don't want to stop it. But now you are married, there's somebody waiting for you at home, whether you are a man or a woman. You can't, those changes must be recognized, and you must, whatever you do, you must understand that those changes are there. How about commitment? Once you're married, you are committed to your spouse, whether your husband or your wife. And because of that commitment, there are some things that you just cannot decide on your own. There are some responsibilities that you just cannot take without consulting with that husband or with that wife. You cannot just decide that you want to apply for a postdoc that's going to take you away for 3 years without making sure that there's a consultation at home and there's an agreement. Or you can't just say you want to go on a field trip, wake up one morning and say you are going on a field trip without making sure that the person you are living at home agrees to it. Those kind of commitment needs to be there. And also responsibility. You're responsible to your wife, you're responsible to your children, you're responsible to your husband. So whatever you do, all those things, you must bear them in mind. So that means you have somebody that is depending on you. You have somebody that expects that when he or she comes home, There is somebody to discuss with. There is somebody to share the challenges of the day with. There is somebody to ask for their opinion or to just rub minds together. There is that person waiting for you at home. So for married couple, when you have all these things, then it means that you must always consider these things and many more. Time cannot permit me to put everything on this slide. So we have to consider all these things and many more before you make whatever decision, so that there can be a balance, so that you are sure that the person at home is not suffering, neither is your work suffering. So how do you make sure that there's a balance, both in your work, in your life, and in your marriage? It means that whatever you want to do, you need to consider your spouse, either man or woman, that is either your husband or your wife. How will my decision to take up this responsibility, how will it affect my spouse? Will it have a negative effect? Will it have a positive effect? How will that decision affect my spouse? And then another thing to be able to have that work-life balance with your marriage and everything is cultivate the habit of making sure that whatever you want to do, you have the support of your spouse. From my diagram, you can see the wife pulling the man up, and together they were able to reach the summit and they could celebrate. So it's important to make sure that there's consultation and there is spousal support in whatever you do. And when I'm talking about this, I'm talking about a marriage where both of you know that you are interested in the progress of the other person. You're not looking for excuses, but you know that this marriage is for a lifetime, and we're doing our best to make sure it works despite the challenges. And you know that the success of my husband is my success, the success of my wife is my success, so that it's easy for you to bring whatever issue you want to do, bring it back to your spouse and make sure you have the support of your spouse. Now, a lot of the places I've been able to go to, all those visiting scientists and all those things, I could do them because I have my support system, my husband supporting every decision. Because especially for a woman, you can't just leave the home with children for several weeks or several months without somebody else agreeing to fill in the gap. So another thing is to make sure that you have space in your schedule for family time. Don't think that I'm so busy in my place of work and then there is nothing, no plan for your family in that busy schedule. You must have a time that is devoted entirely to your family. Then it's important you identify what matters to you. Which activities are you involved with? And these activities are life enhancing, or some activities that soak your soul. They suck you dry. You finish from such activities and you are so down. Such activities are not something you need to work so hard at. They're not things you need to give priority time to. Once you know that they don't enhance, they don't bring quality to your time. And when we're talking about this activity, those activities include the time for yourself. Even if that time they're going to have, you're going to spend it just to read or sleep, read a relaxing novel. Make sure you prioritize yourself in everything that you do. There must be a time a me time, a time that is just for me. I have time for my family, I have time for my work, I have time for my friends, but I also have time for me. It is not a sin. Now, learning to say no in a very polite way. You are saying no and you are still smiling. You know, when you need to say no to be able to set important boundaries. Let people know that at so time in the night, they cannot call you. If somebody calls you at that particular time, don't pick. And if the person says, oh, I called you at so time and you didn't pick my call, let the person know that, oh, that time is too late for you to call me. You'd have called earlier in the day. I'm sorry. But next time, please just call early in the day, earlier. Don't make it too late in the night. Prioritize what you have on your plate. What are the issues you are dealing with right now and set priority for them. Learn to say no to those things that are not priority so that they can free up your time and your energy so that you can say yes to other things that are more important. It is important to learn how to say no and say no in a polite way so that the person you are talking to will not take offense. Please learn to say no. It is not a sin to say no. Let people know when you have too much on your plate and let them know when you cannot accommodate extra. Yes, you need to take a break. And when you take your break, it improves your concentration. It reduces the stress. It helps you keep feeling engaged. And when you're working, you enjoy your work the more. In this part of the world, we don't take our breaks as we should. But please learn to take a break. Even if it's few minutes in between your work, learn to take a break and you'll see that you'll feel more refreshed after taking the break. And still about the break, it's not every time you have to sit at your desk and eat and be walking through lunch. Learn to take your break. If it's time for lunch, take your time and go for your lunch. We know that sometimes you may have so much to do and you need to sit and use your lunch time or break time to do such, but don't let it be a habit. When it is time to take your break, your lunch break, take your long break, leave the work. You can always come back to meet the work. Then, if it's possible to have flexible office hours or flexible time or compress your work schedule or share jobs with others and different other creative options that can make your work lighter, then please tap into them. Make use of such things. When you do all those ones, you have more time to accommodate more things and you are able to attain a balance somehow in some of the things you do. Then your health is very, very, very important. You need to maintain your physical health. You need to maintain your emotional well-being and mental fitness. For some people, they need to carry out daily meditation, exercise, connecting socially, and then practicing a heart of gratitude. Look at where you are now. Look at where you were before, and be thankful for where you are now, because many people are not even where you are, even though maybe you are not even satisfied with where you are. Practice gratitude. It helps a lot in ensuring that you are balanced. So another thing I also want to talk about, self-compassion. You know, sometimes we empathize with others. Oh, he has to do this. She has to do this. But I want you to know that you yourself, you deserve the love and kindness that you so easily give to others. You deserve it too. Don't be a perfectionist. Life is not always easy. Don't say everything, everything must align straight. No, it doesn't always work like that. Sometimes they don't align. And when it does not align, don't begin to beat yourself up because of it. Correct what you can and let go of what you cannot do and move on. Now, another thing is to set and communicate your work hours, personal boundaries, to make sure that you have a system, just in case there's even a true emergency, there's a system for that which they can get to, so that you will not be thinking, I'm missing out on something important. And when you have left work, let work rest. Don't begin to think that, and I didn't do this one, and I didn't do that one. Once you have finished that work or whatever that aspect is, let it go and move on. It's also important that you invest in relationships and make sure that you nurture relationships that matter to you. This picture here are my roommates when I was in my 4th year in the university. And about over 20 years later, we were still connected and we took the second picture. So please nurture relationships that matter to you. It will improve your health. It will increase your lifespan. Have solid connections. And as I mentioned before, we are social beings. So we need each other. We need to support each other. So some of these things you might be wondering, how can I get them done? It's not easy to find time for exercise. How do I say no? Start small. Start small. Do something that it is so simple that you won't even have an excuse for not doing it because it is so simple. So please start all those things in a small way. Cultivate having that relationship, that time, that family time, that spousal time with your husband, with your wife. Start small. Start at little things so that by the time you have big things to decide, you're already used to discussing and consulting even for the small bits of things in your life, so that when it is big, there's no big deal. You're already used to doing that. Then, nobody is a Superman or Superwoman. When you need help, ask for it. Don't say, I don't want to bother anyone by asking for help. Hey, I'm supposed to have it all together. Or, hey, if I don't do it, who else will do it? Many people will do it if you don't do it. And when you ask people for help, it builds a mutual relationship. And they're able to know that you don't have it all. Nobody has it all. We're all trying. We're all making efforts. As long as you're making efforts, then you move on with life. Don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. So now for me, for all that we have said, my conclusion in all these things is that each home or each individual is different and each home is unique. Learn to know the peculiarities of your wife or your husband. Learn to understand your own peculiarity too and work on it to be able to attain a balance between your work, the life, your marriage, so that none of them will suffer. Then understand your limits. Understand your limits. Your limits may not be the same as my own limits. Maybe you can go 8 hours and I'm only able to go 5 hours. Let me understand my uniqueness and know that my limit is 5 hours and let me work within that my own limits. So understand yourself, understand your limits. Then remember that every time you say yes to additional responsibility, you bring an imbalance. Maybe you already have things going smoothly and then another responsibility comes in, you create an imbalance. You need to start shuffling all over again to see what should be my priority at this point in time. Then balance is whatever makes you feel balanced. And the reason I said that is this. Sometimes things can be imbalanced. So accept it when it is imbalanced, because you need to prioritize things. So what you think is a priority today may not be the priority tomorrow. If you have little children, maybe your children are still babies, your priority for them will be different from somebody that has teenagers as children. So priority, your balance is whatever makes you feel balanced. Maybe for that day, what is important for you is to attend your children's open day. If you are able to do it, then you are balanced for the day. And maybe another that time, the priority is to submit a manuscript. Then you're able to do it, then you have reached a balance. So don't begin to think that because I didn't do this and I didn't do that, then that means I'm not balanced. No, it is what you make of it, and it is not the same every day. But peradventure, things are imbalanced at one point or the other. Accept it and don't beat yourself up because of it. So whatever balance you achieve is based on the priorities you have at that point in time. So as you live your life, please make healthy work-life balance a priority. Make it a priority. A healthy work balance that involves your spouse, so that our marriage will not suffer and our work life will also not suffer. So I have it that this work-life balance thing is an ongoing and a fluid process, because just like I said earlier, priorities change, and you will need to learn to adapt as your interests and circumstances change over time. Then whatever you do, enjoy it. Enjoy what you're doing. Involve your spouse, involve your family. Then periodically revisit your priorities. Maybe what you think is important yesterday is no longer important today. So revisit it, see what has changed. So if it is no longer a priority, then remove it from your priority list and put it at the end, so that you know that it is no longer a priority. And you also need to assess whether your priorities, they continue to line up with how you are spending your time and your energy. You spend so much time and energy, are they in line with your priorities? You need to look at it and view whatever your balance in line of that. So I'm going to say thank you for listening. I hope I have not exceeded my time. And thank you. I would also like to say thank you to my own support system, because all the things I've been able to achieve it because I have that support system. Thank you once again. I hand over to the moderator.
Wow, wow, wow. I'm clapping here. This is amazing, amazing, amazing. I could feel the passion. I could feel the connection. Like I could feel it even from here. Thank you so much, Ma, for pointing out to us. Thank you for speaking from the depths of your heart. Thank you so much. My journal is full. And one thing that stood out for me is have a supportive spouse. Then spousal agreement while communicating. That stood out for me, because I'm very young in marriage, but I know that spousal support is one important thing to actually keep a woman going, to even keep a marriage going. So thank you so much. And thank you for also emphasizing that if there is no work-life balance, then we'll be faced with a lot of fatigue. Our body system might even collapse. So thank you for also bringing our health into this. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate your inputs and all that you have put in to deliver this excellent thing. So now we'll be taking questions and answers. So I can see some comments in the chat box. Okay. Gospel Adegoku said a me time, things that soaks the soul and things that enlighten them. Awesome. Then also Eunice is saying, I learned a lot. Take home message for me, be adaptive to change and always revisit your priorities. So it's time for Q&A section. So if we have your question, you can kindly send it to the chat box. And if you can unmute yourself, you can also use the microphone to send in your question. Thank you so much. I'll be waiting. I expect to see hands up for question, clarity sections. Where are my AGMCP fellows? I hope I am not alone on this call. I hope I am not alone on this call.
Not at all, not at all.
Okay. So we are saying,
Good afternoon to all of us once again, and thanks to my mentor for a wonderful presentation. Thanks for the wonderful presentation. Okay, so I would like to ask a quick question. I got to a point, I was having a lot of opportunities because I'm still in my 20s, I'm not married and all that. But then the problem is I'm told that as the opportunities come, I should be grabbing them. But there are times I also feel so tired and outweighed. So in that case, what do I do? Should I pick the ones that I think are of priority to me now, or what? Because it's also said that you might never know which ones will help you in the future. So in that case, should I drop some and go ahead with the ones that I think at the moment are of priority to me, or I should just grab all and try and
Sorry, Mrs. Deborah, I didn't get the format we're using. Do I respond after each one? Hello, Mrs. Ajeboriogbo.
I wanted to check if we still have more hands up. Maybe we can
please.
take it. Please, if we still have more questions, can we signify so that we can take it one? Okay, someone has a question in the chat box. Afo Neferi, sorry if I'm murdering the name.
Okay, no, let me. Okay.
Or you can do what works best for you, ma. Maybe if you can take it one at a time.
Let me respond to Eunice's question. You know,
okay.
For it's fine. There are many opportunities, but you need to understand that not all opportunities are for you. Not all opportunities. So you cannot take up everything. But I know that part of the challenge we usually have is that maybe you see a call, but you don't know which one will work, which one will come through. Let me put it like that. You don't know the one that will come through. So you want to make sure that you apply for as many calls as you can. That's fine if you can cope. But it's important you also know your limitation. And if a call is in your area, a call is your core area of interest, then you go for it and leave the ones that are not so much in your area of interest. So it still comes to prioritizing what information you get and run with the one that you will be able to get the most out of it. If you have so many calls, before you even know it, you won't be able to put your best into each application. So it's important that you prioritize, just like Spin said, so that you can select the best that will work for you. I hope I answer your question, Eunice. Yeah, now for Marius, how do you involve your spouse in all what you want to do? Especially, it is not easy, especially if you are not in the same professional area. Now, let me say that my husband is a structural engineer. I am a forester. That's like I'm in agri, he's in engineering, something to make it easier for everyone to understand. So that means that we're not in the same area, so to say. However, even right from onset, by the grace of God, we'll be married for 20 years this December. Right from the onset, we discuss each other's profession. We talk about it. He tells me what he does in his place of work, and I tell him what I do right from onset. So communication, when I talk about consulting, making sure you have your spouse's buy-in, communication, talk to each other. You don't have to be in the same professional area, but let him or her understand what you are doing. And if he is interested in your progress, then you'll be able to come together to an agreement concerning what you want to do. Thank you.
Okay, so
Okay,
do we still have any other questions for our speaker? Do we still have any other questions? And yes, it's beautiful to know 20 years of marriage. That's awesome. Well done, ma. Thank you so much, ma. Okay, Okparinde Grace, you can use the microphone or use the chat box.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the presentation, ma'am. But my question is on the part where you said we need to learn to say no. So I'm trying to bring that into marriage to say, is it really possible to say no to one spouse? I know it's something when it comes to one, because what I've heard about marriage is that there's always a need to reach a compromise. You don't think about your own position alone. You have to consider the other person's. How possible is it?
Okay. Do I have the floor? Do I have the floor?
Yes,
okay.
You have the floor.
Yes. Miss or Mrs. Okparinde or Miss whichever one, or Doctor whichever one. Now, about saying no. You know, since you have with that surname, I want to believe that you are Yoruba. You know, the Yorubas have a proverb, but they will say "Peleni ako oni abo." Apologies for those that might not understand. There's a way you say no, and the person you are saying no to will not be offended. You can't just go outright and say no to your spouse, whether the husband or the wife. You must be able to learn how to say that you may not be available to do one thing or the other. So it's not a matter of just going out of your way to say no, but how do you say the no? If you look at my icon, I put the no with a smile. So you are saying no, but in your own way of saying no, you are making sure that the person you are actually saying no to is not offended. So that is why it's an important thing to cultivate. The how of saying no. You must cultivate it. I was with a colleague last week, and he said no to something somebody wanted him to do. So I had to call him later and say, no, you don't say no like that. There's another way of saying no that the person you are talking to will not be offended. And that is something we all need to learn how to say no. Because there are even times in the home that what you want your spouse to do is not what you want. And if you're not going to agree, then you must be able to know how you will balance your not agreeing. So you need to learn it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, ma. We have Olajumoke Halabi, so you can bring your question on board so that we can take it.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing Dr. Alabi very well.
Okay, I said thank you very much for that presentation was a blessing. Mine is just a comment that
Okay.
I don't know if it can happen or after that. I know there is a platform that Dr. Olaj created for next year. I don't know if it is possible for you to put it on WhatsApp so that we can listen to it over and over. Like, I've been listening to work-life balance seminars, but Dr. Akinyele was really practical about it. I really appreciate that. So mine is just a thing that I have access to the recording so that one can listen over and over.
Thank you, Ma. I think I will leave that to the organizer of the program.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. And like we have seen from the feedbacks and the comment, we are really grateful for such a beautiful presentation that you gave to us this afternoon. And we can see the testament from what our last speaker was asking, that's Olajumoke Halabi, about how you have given a balance to the subject matter beyond what we are used to. So on this note, we are saying thank you once again. And we hope when we call on you some other time, you will honor our beautiful invitation as a team, as an organization. So we are saying a very big thank you to you, a very big thank you to all of our participants who had made it to be a part of this who has been a part
Deborah,
of this.
Mrs.
Yes, ma'am.
Deborah, please, there's a question on the chat that I would love to answer.
Okay, ma. Kindly
If
go
we're
ahead,
still
ma.
within the time.
Yeah, we are still
From
within the time.
Marius. Is there a moment you have a disappointment with your spouse? If yes, what strategies have you used to end with the, I'm assuming that you said when I was disappointed, how did I react to it? And I would want to say this, just like, was it Grace? Sometimes you say, you learn to say, you want to do something and your spouse is not in agreement with it. For me, and I'm talking about me, remember I said you need to learn to understand yourself, know that you are an individual and that you are unique and your home is unique. I have learned over time that when my husband does not agree with what I want to do, it is better for me not to do it. I have learned that. That means he had said no at some time in the past, and I have gone ahead, and it did not end up very well for me. So now, when he is not in agreement and I'm not able to convince him with all my, with all my arguments, with all my reasons and reasoning and everything, once I am not able to convince him and we are not on the same page about something, I let it go and I move on. There is no disappointment. So that is me. I let it go and I move on. I hope I have answered your question, Marius. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, once again. And to buttress what Dr. Akinyele has said, sometimes or most times, even as a lady, our husband sees afar better off than we can even see. The men are more of logical, while we can even play to our emotions. So when the man is saying no, it's best to just go back to even think and look at why he is saying the no in a more logical way. So I can see the answer of Dr. Olawale Olaide up. Yes, sir, you have the floor for your questions and your contributions. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Obe ni Ajebori Ogbon. I also want to thank Dr. Akinyele for this, for honoring our invitation. I just want to add a few things from what Dr. Akinyele has said. Let us know that no two marriages are the same. My own marriage will be definitely be different from your own marriage. To start with, you have your name is not the same thing as my name, just to start with. Now, our realities in life are also different. So never compare your own marriage with another person's marriage. That is the first thing you must know. And this has to be indelible in your heart. The other thing I want to say that know your priorities in life. What do you want out of this marriage? Okay, some people set priorities. Okay, we want to have this number of children. We want to build a house. We want to live in a particular place. Those things must be discussed even from the time you are starting. The reason why marriages usually start with courtship is to give you enough time for communication. Okay, not for sexual interaction. It's for communication. Everything and most things you for marriages that I've interacted with, those who are lasting, I mean, those who last for 20 years, as you say, as a speaker, and much more, 70 years, examples of marriages that started with by discussing their priorities in life. So such that even when the field of study did not align, I mean, practically one person is in engineering, one person is in agriculture, or another person is in arts, but they still find basis for communication. They find basis for agreements. So what I want to, my own contribution would be that let your priorities be right and let the future be more important than the present, okay? And never compare your marriage with any other marriage or marriages. Maybe the third thing as you add, the most important thing about marriage that you will remember after 50, 70 years will be memories, not money. Will be experiences you share together. You know, our presenter today shared a picture of people that they were together during their undergraduate 20 years ago. Thankfully, too, my own mates too, we had our reunion 20 years of graduation last month. It was an awesome experience for us. So we may forget many things, but things that we will always remember are the memories, the good days that you have. And apart from marriage, you also have professional relationship, ability to keep your relationship. Everybody you meet is a potential benefactor. So don't treat people as if you will never meet them again, okay? Be nice to people. You don't know who will help you, okay? And even when you have done good to people and some people are not returning good to you, don't be discouraged because somebody is also waiting to do good to you. So don't expect good from the people you do good to also sometimes. Otherwise, you may be disappointed if they don't do reciprocate. But keep an open mind, love everybody, and be professional in your interactions with people. And the memory is what will last, not the money that you give to people, but the memories of your good days and of your relationship. Even in marriage, you have children, the children will leave, but your husband is, when I was preparing for marriage, what God told me is that the only person that God will give me, that is my portion on this earth, is my wife. You may have every other thing, but those things may go. But the only person that will not leave you, if it's your wife or your spouse, is the partner that you have chosen. So cherish that relationship in good times, in bad times. Trust God that you are you are investing in each other. And if it's taking towards one side, just wait. Don't say, oh, you are the only one that is always benefiting from this relationship. No. Always find reasons to share your joy, your sorrows, and your happiness as you move on in life. But never live a disappointed life. Okay? So those are some of my comments that I just want to please share with us before we close. Thank you again, guest speaker and moderator. Sorry, I'm on a trip. That's why I couldn't join earlier. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So without much ado, we are at the end of this call. We appreciate everyone for their time and their participation. So the next on the agenda will be a quick announcement. So we'll be announcing that AGMCP call for 2023 will be made, is now on. So the link will be made available in our groups so that we can encourage others, your friends, your inner circle to be a part of this 1 year fellowship. I was a part of the fellowship last year, and I must say it was one of the most fulfilling journey of my career path. So the call for application for 2023 will be on in a short time. When it is on, the link will be made available in our respective groups. So would advocate that you give you give it a great publicity to people in your circle. It's not only limited to people in Africa. It is also it's an African it's an African, it's a continental event. So would expect that you give it the biggest publicity to reach a large audience. Thank you so much. And at this point, we say bye. Bye. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye bye.